What's going on, y'all? It's Jason Reviews here, back at it again with another episode of Book'em. It's been a really long time since I got a Book'em episode out here. I've just been, kind of wrapped up with the Golden Years videos. You guys know that I really like doing these more creative series. I mentioned this in another video, but I know that prediction recap, that obviously gets tiring. So, and a big part of this channel is the creative content, the other series going over history and whatnot. But Book'em is a series that I started pretty early on this channel, and it's just been a minute since I posted an edition. But here we do booking plans for battlers. We decide before I had done it, if they have a battle coming up, we do 3 battles that they should go for after they win. If they win, or if they lose the 3 battles, they should go for after that. So it's like 2 separate booking plans, but for this particular one and for the foreseeable future, I'm just going to do the 5 best matchups, maybe explain the scenario that they're best in for a battler. But here, guys, we're doing the Swamp edition of Book'em. I was thinking about how can I show Swamp some love. He just had a humongous, obviously, the upset over Rum Nitty, career high performance. So I was trying to find, what video do I do? A flashback review, one of his older battles, an in-depth breakdown, like how do we go about it? But I think a Book'em is the perfect, format to do this in. Obviously, he has a humongous Battle of Fawns coming up still in the tourney, still available for the 100Ks in the Final Four. So, we're going to explain which matchups here he would take depending on situation, go over the 5 that I think are best for him. And without further ado, let's just break this down. So I'm going to start from the bottom of this list. The matchups are going to get bigger in stature and possibly importance, as we get up to number 1. But we're going to start here almost as if, if he was to lose to Fawns, still a great tournament run for him. I want to highlight as well, like I said before, Judge win over Shotgun Shug and a Judge win over Rum Nitty. About as good of a win as you can get in Battle Rap in 2022. But if he was to get knocked out of the tournament, obviously would still be a success. There would still be buzz around his name. But these are the matchups that if he doesn't get to the final or possibly, win a final, that I could see him immediately taking. And the first is Castro. This battle's been talked about, possibly for the Midnight Madness belt. I personally don't put too much stock into any of the Midnight Madness belts, but they do lead to more exciting booking. If you look at, even the career Snake Eyes and the way that his career has escalated, a lot of that is based around the fact that he's a belt holder. But yeah, with Lou, a while ago, a couple months ago, I believe Let's Talk Battle Rap tweeted out a little announcement, little update about Swamp calling out Lou. And back then, the reception is a lot different than what you'd see now. It's a lot of people saying Lou would win clear, Lou 2-1. As we get to now, I could see back then why people would have that opinion. I think it would always be a toss-up battle for the most part. You got 2 guys who were pretty fairly inconsistent with the cleanness in their delivery. Obviously different, styles. Swamp is extremely unique with his southern drawl and the way that he performs. And then Lou is just an infectious big stage performer. But I believe they could match energy, and it could make for a great battle. Also, 2 guys that are probably knocking at the door top tier. Inconsistencies up and down. I don't know which one would be ahead of each other. Lou is in the middle of a pretty nasty losing streak right now. And Swamp has been inconsistent, even beating Rum Nitty and Shug. There's still memory issues in those battles. If he could clean that up, I think Swamp would be a top tier by now. If you look at some of these battles like T-Top, Sirius Jones, these are probably clear wins if he stops forgetting his material. And we'd be looking at his record even better, than some people do now. But I think it would be a great battle. I would have Swamp winning fairly clear going in right now. I think he has just much more confidence as a battler. There's more stuff that I think will stick for more time. I've spoken pretty outspoken on this channel when I've spoken on Lou about how his performance is starting to become more of a gimmick than a weapon in his arsenal of tools, on that stage. You want your performance to help your overall, your bars and everything be a part of the package, but you don't want your performance to just be the only thing, your slogans to be the only thing. And with Swamp, I think we're discovering a guy that is, he's getting more into the real talk bag every battle. I think that's where he is at his strength, at his peak, when he's just talking real shit and substance. He's not extremely, pen heavy or anything like that, but he's able, with a really unique way of performing and saying real shit that real people can just relate to on a life-to-life basis. He's able to channel in substance and make multiple haymakers and moments out of that. So I would have Swamp winning this one. And that would lead me into the next matchup that I think would be good for Swamp, which is Jack Boy Main. Another battler, around knocking at the door top tier. So, if he was to lose to Fonz, these are two battles right here where it's not exactly top tier names he'd be shooting right to, even though he just beat two top tier names. But two guys that are also trying to earn their way, do the same thing he's doing, break through maybe some talk of inconsistencies, highlight the best parts of them as a battler, and finally get a couple of those signature wins to officially, say, I'm top tier. You can't take that away from me. I think Swamp versus Jack is a better battle than Swamp versus Lou. Like I said, I think Swamp might fairly, clear Lou right now. But Jack Boy, is coming off of 30 versus First Lady Flames, but in general, his stock is still up. And it almost feels like you didn't take that battle serious. That is not an excuse. You cannot be getting 30'd. I will address that as a 30 and a black mark on his resume. But I do know that if this matchup was to get booked, Jack Boy would definitely elevate himself, to more the level that we've come more akin to in 2021 when he won most improved battler of the year last year. This one will be a little bit of a toss-up because I think both of them are fantastic. We spoke on the unique southern drawl of Swamp, and Jack Boy is another one of those one-of-one guys with the Vicky, and, that broken-up delivery, and just the way he moves. It's a very unique matchup. I think it would make for an amazing battle. Not really names that I've heard pitted up against each other, but on any undercard, I would love to see Swamp versus Jack Boy main. I'll go with Swamp 2-1 edge for now, just because, I'm pretty big on the Swamp train, especially after that Nitty win. I thought that was just a stellar. It gives you flashes of this guy could really be a top tier and a star going forward if he can just keep it clean. And, Jack Boy will have something to say about that. So, on to the top three battles, though, and the first one I want to go over is K Shine. I think K Shine versus Swamp would be playing in the background. I think K Shine versus Swamp would be a dope battle. I don't know. This is really going to depend on how they book Shine in his comeback. Obviously, there's been talk about Shine being on Gnome 12. And we'll see who he's booked on then, if he is booked for Gnome 12, and maybe that'll determine how they're going to book Shine. Losing the Hollow, losing to Chile, came back and faced Easy, obviously the number one up-and-coming guy. So, seeing, is Shine going to come back and be giving guys shots for the most part? Could we see, Shine versus Jack Boy's obviously been in talks, Shine versus Fonz, Fonz been calling him out forever. Now that these guys are more grown up than they were about a year or two ago, do you see Shine step out more on a consistent basis and take more new up-and-coming guys who are about to make that push in the top tier? In my opinion, I think it would be good booking. Shine is obviously an established top tier, but he had a very, very rough 2021. I don't have him winning a round in 2021. And not that it's a demotion. These are still fire battlers. Not Luke Castro, Fonz, Jack Boy main, Swamp. These are very formidable comp and up-and-coming guys that are about to, knock the door to top tier. And as a vet, I just think it would be cool for him to step out, be one of the competitive top-tier plates these guys could get and possibly get their, one of their first signature wins and make that graduation to top tier. I just think it would be good booking. I think Shine and Swamp have some pretty, their aggression would match up pretty well in their energy. But yeah, it's Jack Boy and Shine are two battles I don't see talked about as like a matchup for Swamp, but I think those two battles should be one of the more favorable in this booking. If I was URL, if I was him, I just think, it shines light at his name while still being a competitive matchup and making sense stylistically and matchup-wise. And with all that being said, that leads me into my last two here, which, are two names that I'm sure that if you've been keeping up with Swamp and the way he talks, you could see this coming. The second to first is Easy. This is less likely to get booked unless Swamp was to go on a streak of a few battles against very formidable comp. Just the way that, Easy being an up-and-comer in himself, he's looking more for obviously battling top tiers. We're seeing his name linked to Calico, Goods, Geechee Gotti. At some point, if Gun Titles keeps their word, he'll be battling Rock and Surf, also great matchups for him. So, it's a little less likely to get booked, but Swamp has called him out. Easy clearly doesn't like him. They've exchanged some words before. And this might not be an immediate, maybe if Swamp wins the tourney, then we're in a different conversation here. Swamp stock, obviously it's up right now, but it would be up, considering he's going to have to go through Fonz and one of JC or Sheed to get it. So, that's a couple things are going to have to fall in place first before that's really a realistic thing I could see being booked. But if Swamp can keep the consistency of like what we just saw versus Nitty, You can't tell me that Swamp wouldn't put up a good fight against an easy-to-block captain. Just think it will be a fire battle. Don't want to get too much in it because obviously a lot of things have to add together. But something to keep in mind, we know Swamp's potential was high after that Your Honor battle, after his original battle. We went through some peaks and valleys, but with a win like a judge win over Rum Nitty, this can catapult him back to where his potential should have been, get him all the momentum he needs back, and that'll lead us into the last battle I think will be great for Swamp, Tayrock. It's been talked about. They talk shit back and forth on live videos. There's been all type of talk around it. Even though Swamp has been inconsistent, Rock has still been open to battling him. We know the warrior that Tayrock is. And this would be a good battle, probably even more likely than Easy versus Swamp. Just the way Tayrock rolls, a vet, a legend, just always giving up-and-comers a shot while also battling all the other top tiers, all the other legends. It's just you could fit Rock into a lot of different battles. He's even talked about battling Real Sick, some of these other up-and-comers, so just dope all the way around. Like I said, I do think Swamp might need to do a little more, maybe beating Fonz. I don't know if winning the tourney, if he won the tourney, he probably would have Tayrock as his next battle. I wouldn't be shocked if that's how that went down. But if he was to lose to Fonz, he would just need to click together a couple other maybe top tier wins, just impressive, one or two more impressive showings. And I could easily see him shooting up to, the front of the line for who's got Tayrock next. Obviously, Tayrock just got booked versus T-Top for Gnome 12. I haven't covered that on this channel because I'm waiting for the whole Gnome card to drop before I do full predictions. So if you haven't seen anything on Gnome and you're wondering why, I'm just waiting till it's all out at once so I can cover it, in just one video. But yeah, Tayrock versus Swamp, I think he's just a little bit outside of what he needs to get there, but it's going to be a great battle. It's a bit of a grudge match. Like I said, they've talked a lot of shit about each other, a lot of personal shit. Suck my dicks. We all know how the Tayrock arguments go, all that craziness, but that'll be a dope battle. And it's kind of the first that comes to mind. If you think a milestone plate for Swamp early on, that was T-Top, the talking shit to Carolina. But now I think Tayrock is the battle that if Swamp said, I need to get one battle tomorrow, what battle would I write my heart out for? What would bring the best out of me again, like it did versus Nitty? I think Tayrock would be that matchup. And with all that being said, guys, that is my, my little booking plan for Swamp. The 5 matchups I think would be best for Swamp. Obviously, he's got Fonz coming up, and if he wins that, he's going to battle on Gnome, the winner of the other side of the bracket, for the 100K. So, I did mention that. I excluded that because I think that we all, that's obvious that that could be his possible next battle coming up. But these are matchups going forward after the tourney, win or loss, that I think would just be good for him for the rest of 2022, just booking regularly and possibly going into 2023 because I doubt that it goes as perfect. There's always weird matchups they throw in there. It's crazy disrespectful and just crazy in general that a couple of weeks ago this man was battling Dot. That's what they thought of him. They gave him Dot on a Civil War card, and he wiped the floor with him. He just beat Suge, even though I thought it was questionable. They're not super questionable, but it was a close battle. I thought that they kind of looked over some not cleanliness in Swamp's material. But then he just had the performance of his life versus Rum Nitty. So, all that just gets washed in the back. But it's crazy to think that we're going from Dot to now the Tayrock talks are looking serious or more serious than they were not that long ago. So you guys let me know, what do you think is the best matchup for Swamp going forward? We could obviously name all types of top tiers that he could go against, but even middle ground guys, like I said, like Jack or Lou that are knocking on the door of stardom, what matchups do you think stylistically go good against Swamp, and also for his brand, what goes good against Swamp? So you guys let me know in the comments down below. Like, comment, subscribe. Any of your takes on Swamp. Definitely going to have some content coming out here in the next few days, possibly regarding another Carolina battler that I feel has been disrespected lately. So be on the lookout for that around Friday. And yeah, it's been J Schmo Reviews again, and I'll see y'all next time. Peace.